You worked hard, performed your duties efficiently, and got along with all your coworkers. Despite that, your previous employer fired you without notice. When you asked about your termination, you found out it was for an unjust reason. What does it mean to be fired unjustly? There are plenty of legal reasons that an employer can fire you, including no reason at all. But even with all this flexibility, there are still factors that can make firing an employee illegal. And when an employer unjustly fires an employee, that employer can be sued to recover damages. In general, an attorney or law firm is looking for one of the following specific reasons that can constitute an unjust firing. Fired in violation of the employee handbook or employment contract. Employee handbooks or employee contracts usually give precise rules for how and when an employee can be disciplined. For example, many employee contracts will require managers to give a certain number of warnings before an employee can be fired. If your boss fails to follow the rules of your employment contract, you can sue for breach of contract. These violations usually don't happen in a vacuum. If an employer violates the employee handbook or employment contract to fire you, it's usually because your ex-employer is violating your rights in some other way and is trying to hide that fact. Even if your ex-employer followed the rules in the employee handbook, you may have a case for being fired unjustly. If other people engaged in the same behavior that got you fired, but they weren't let go, you can claim that you were treated unjustly. Employers are required to give approximately equal treatment to all employees. One tricky reason that an employer might fire you is to avoid paying benefits that they'd owe you if you continue to be employed. For example, an employer might fire you to avoid paying for vacation days that you've accrued or to avoid having to give you stock options that you'll earn after a certain date. If you haven't done anything else that should result in losing your job, your employer is engaging in fraud by firing you. Just because the loophole allows your employer to avoid paying benefits if they fire you, that doesn't mean the firing was just. You can sue your employer to recoup the benefits that you would have gotten if they hadn't fired you for the sole purpose of preventing you from getting those benefits. As previously noted, there are numerous legal reasons that an employer can fire an employee. However, an employer may try to claim a legal reason when, in reality, they're firing an employee for an illegal reason. This scenario sets up so that the employer can claim they didn't realize what they did was illegal. If you are fired, you should save as much evidence of your work conduct and the potential reason for the firing as possible. For example, if your employer claims you were fired for tardiness, you should keep time card records that show you arrived on time to work consistently. That kind of evidence can prove that your ex-employer is lying about the reasons you were fired. Once you know why you weren't fired, look for evidence of the real reason you were fired. Did you recently reveal that you were pregnant? Would your stock options have matured if you'd worked another week? These are the things to consider when investigating the true reason you were fired. Employers know that if they admit to firing you for an unjust reason, they're liable for damages. That's why most will attempt to conceal the real reason. But usually someone will slip up and admit the real reason, or some evidence will surface revealing it. With that evidence in hand, you'll have a strong case to support your claim of being fired unjustly. If you were a victim of wrongful termination, you could have a cause of action against your employer. For a free case evaluation, contact the Law Center to be connected with a partner firm of a law center near you.